Good afternoon, everybody. It's Stephen and Paul from WinExtra bringing you your daily brief of Microsoft news and information for March 15th, 2011, otherwise known as the Ides of March.
The Ides of March, and it's the day today where we're supposed to have that mysterious Microsoft announcement, which we know nothing about. We've been speculating about for days, and it's supposed to happen today, but at the time of recording, it hasn't yet occurred.
No.
So tomorrow, hopefully, we'll have some really awesome Microsoft mysterious announcement news.
Yes. Who knows? But we do know that last night had to be the most boring presentation I've ever seen. I mean, seriously.
This was the IE9 announcement?
Yeah, they had a webcast of it from the South by Southwest conference, and I'm telling you,
So what was it, like a rehash of what we've seen before? I don't know, because while you were sitting at home watching a webcast, I was sitting in Longhorn Steakhouse enjoying a really nice T-bone steak.
Yeah. No, interestingly enough, they did the Dean, whatever his name, who's the head of the Internet Explorer group at Microsoft, opened up tying in the whole Internet Explorer experience with it being a Windows experience.
Even though they're now two distinctly separate platforms.
Yeah, but it's basically.
Well, you know what? I can kind of understand that, right? Because IE9, and I'm running it right now, so we've got our show notes in. And I must say, I haven't noticed any major changes, except that when I turned it on this morning, or turned it on after updating, I didn't get that pop-up that we got through the betas and the RC that said, you can now disable add-ons to speed things up. That pop-up didn't come up, which is a rather pleasant thing. But anyway, as I was saying, I can see where he's coming from with that, because, IE9 is all about HTML5. It's all about hardware acceleration. It's all about making web apps as fast as possible, so that you don't have to have all that stuff installed on your machine. Because Microsoft has a big cloud vision. They want everything in the cloud if they can get there. Sorry about that, that's my phone. But oddly enough, while we're sitting here talking pre-show about, how Microsoft has this cloud vision, and IE9 is built for, hardware accelerating and web apps and whatnot, and then this story comes out that Apple might be doing nasty when it comes to web apps.
Okay, give some background on this, because I'm still not.
All right, basically, this originally came out of a story out of the Register, who we don't particularly like, because they tend to have very biased reporting, in my opinion. But it's picked up by a few other places, and what it boils down to is that in iOS 4.3, the new iOS, they upgraded the JavaScript engine inside Safari. It's called, it's a Nitro engine or something like that.
Yeah, I think so.
Particularly remember off the top of my head. Hang on, I might actually have it over. Anyway, basically what happens is stuff that goes on inside Safari obviously runs quite quick with that JavaScript engine and a whole lot. But if you launch a web app from the home screen, it doesn't use that engine. It actually runs considerably slower. It also doesn't use asynchronous rendering. It uses the older version, which makes it look not so good. Also, web apps that are run from the home screen don't get to take advantage of things like the HTML5 caching and stuff like that. So basically, the complaint that's being laid at Apple's door is, are you deliberately slowing down web apps for your own gains? Now, you might ask yourself, okay, why would Apple want to do this? Well, if you go back far enough, you'll remember when, Steve Jobs said, we're fully for web standards, we don't like Flash, this sort of stuff, but we want to fully embrace web standards. But you'll also go back far enough, you'll remember when he said they'd never have an app store. Well, now they have an app store, and 30% of every app that's sold is go money in Apple's coffers. Also, even if it's a free app, as long as it's running advertising that is powered by Apple,
Yeah.
they're getting it. That's something they miss out on web apps. Now, these problems have been submitted to Apple as bugs by the developer that originally broke the story that Register picked it up off of. If, I suppose, they get enough press given out about this, they'll probably come out and say, oh, it was a bug that we overlooked.
Yeah.
Everybody else will just have to make up their minds one way or the other as to whether or not it's a bug, or whether or not it's, well, look, if we just don't do this, people will use the apps rather than the web apps, and we make some more monies. But, that's for you viewers and listeners and whatnot to decide. And when you have your decision made, why don't you drop us an email, a podcast at WinExtra.com. Leave us a comment anywhere that you are watching us, or pick up the phone 251-281-8730 and leave us a voicemail or a text message. We'd love to know what you think about it.
We're all still waiting for the famous Nodo update for Windows Phone 7.
I saw it.
But apparently, I guess there's been a few people that have been able to get a chance to have a look at it in action. I'm not sure how they managed to do this, but there's a video of it up on the web showing all the good stuff coming in Nodo.
Well, all the good stuff coming in Nodo? Seriously? Copy and paste and a few performance updates. But no, the performance updates are important. Copy and paste is important, don't get me wrong. But Tom Warren actually made the video and covered it over on WinRumors, and he seems less than enthusiastic now about things. Remember, this wasn't meant to be a big update. This is just supposed to be one of those little incremental updates that goes along, with copy and paste being the big feature. But he did say that copy and paste was relatively unresponsive, that it was fiddly to use. Interesting thing, though, that came out of it was, first off, I was looking at him use it, and I thought, while watching it, that's no more awkward, really, than doing it on my Android. It's slightly different, but not really much more awkward. But an interesting thing came out of the comments on WinRumors was that a couple of people actually mentioned that he was testing on the Samsung, and he had the Samsung lying flat on the table. And that they've all noticed that if you're not holding a Samsung, if it's just flat on the flat, that the screen is nowhere near as responsive as to when you pick it up.
Weird.
Yeah, and this was meant by, in the show notes I have comments from 2 Samsung users who noticed it, but there was other people as well. And basically what they said is this guy, Haffenbrack is his username, said, Tom, I noticed you had the phone sitting flat on the table when trying to select the text, and it appeared you were using a Samsung Focus. I also have the Focus, and I found that when it is laying flat, the touchscreen responsiveness is greatly decreased. However, when held at even the slightest angle, it is very responsive, making the selection of text, etc., much easier. I'm wondering if maybe the Samsung doesn't have some sort of thing in there to decide, okay, your phone is flat. Maybe we don't need to be sending so much power there because you're obviously not using it.
That's an interesting possibility,
and if you
I guess.
pick it up a little bit, change the angle, and it goes, oh, time to be responsive.
Yeah.
I don't know, but it's just interesting to see, a number of users come out and say the responsiveness issue may actually be the phone you're using rather than the software. So we'll have to wait and see what reports we get about people doing it on, other phones like you.
Yeah, like
when
me.
You get it for your LG Optimus. Your Optimus 7.
I'm waiting. I check every day, faithfully. Faithfully I check, but it's still not
Try
good.
just hooking it up to Zune and see if you get anything.
What's that?
Just try hooking it up to Zune and see if you get anything.
Yeah. The other big news that broke yesterday is the possibility, and I'm qualifying this as a possibility because Microsoft hasn't come out one way or another, but Zune the hardware version is dead. The software will continue. The platform will continue. But the actual physical device is no more.
But wasn't there a thing, didn't it come out a while back and say that there would be no dedicated music player?
I don't remember that specifically, but I also do remember at some point last year that there were rumors that we would see a refresh of the hardware.
Yeah, Mary Jo Foley wrote about that
Yeah.
a time. Zune HD2.
Yeah.
But we had speculated that, look, they're not going to come out with a new Zune. They're going to go the iPod Touch route with Windows Phone 7.
Well, you and I talked about this yesterday, or
Yeah.
I mentioned it.
And we've mentioned it in previous shows as well, and I've always maintained that they would go the iPod Touch route, but not until after Mango.
But what if they decided to go before Mango, and basically, if you got one of these new Zunes or whatever, and it could be updated like that, wouldn't that be kind of a...
There would be no carrier reliance with something.
That's right. I mean,
Okay.
here's the point, is if they can do that and it works fine, then doesn't that make the carriers look really bad?
Carriers do look really bad.
Well, I know they do, but even more so. If Microsoft can actually deliver on time and update a media player or Windows minus Phone 7 handset.
Well, think of it. It's a Windows Phone 7 phone minus the phone element, which is the only part that carriers really have anything to do with, right?
Yeah.
So if they can deliver that, and then they turn around and they say, okay, Mango update is ready, plug it into your Zune, just like the iPod, boom, there you go.
Yeah.
The difference with that, though, is that would have to be a Microsoft, or, they'd have to partner with one manufacturer, I think, for that. Or they're going to run into the same problems that they have with Windows Phone 7. Okay, first off, with Windows Phone 7, you have the problem of carriers blocking the updates, okay? But you must remember, they're supporting multiple hardware types,
Exactly.
multiple, there's multiple firmwares to be done, there's multiple drivers to be done for everything, every time you do. But if they can just partner with just one manufacturer and have one set of hardware, then it'll be just like Apple, because Apple make their own hardware, so they avoid so much of those problems. So then they could just push the updates out to let's call it the Touch 7 whenever they're ready, right?
Yeah.
And that will be that. Then people will get to see what's coming for Windows Phone 7, and maybe I don't see Microsoft ever doing this because they're still too conservative in the way they think in with regards to this. But if they were to do that, maybe you could get an uproar from people. Well, not really an uproar. There'd be more like a minor murmur.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? The people would sort of say, well, look, it's exactly the same device except for the cellular receiver.
Yep.
Why can't I have this off my carrier? Because my carrier is being a dick.
Yep.
But here I am with all these great features on the thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's
Yeah. I know.
Microsoft is too conservative, I think, to sort of push the carriers around at this point by doing something like that. I think, as we were discussing pre-show a Wired piece, that Microsoft needs to stop treating the carriers as customers.
Yeah.
And to hell with them. Yeah.
Yesterday we had a story about the so-called Aerial Lite as a possible interface for Windows 8 Starter.
I was very unimpressed with the screenshots that you showed me.
Yeah. We had some feedback from that from someone in Aberdeen, Maryland.
Yeah, well, look, okay, we're going to remove the Aberdeen part, I think.
Okay.
Because as we saw with previous commenters
Yes.
who Texas is in and didn't leave their name, Google Voice isn't always exactly accurate as to where you're from. But it's definitely a commenter for Aberdeen. And basically what they've said is that Windows 7 Starter is a joke. And if Aero Lite is to be the interface to Windows 8 Starter, that's even more of a joke. And I have to agree with Paul, that would be me. Who runs that? I mean, this is something you and I have been saying since, the earliest days of Vista.
Enough
Starter
with...
edition. Enough with these multiple cut-down editions that only run one or two things. No.
Yeah, stop it.
You're confusing the customers. You're making more work for yourself. Just stop it. Nobody runs this crap.
Yeah. Anyway, so if any of you have opinions on anything we've had to say today, good, bad, or indifferent, drop us a line at podcast@winextra.com, or in the comments on WinExtra for this post, or on youtube.com/WinExtra, or you can...
Dailybrief.blip.tv.
Yeah.
We got so many places I get constantly confused.
I know. Or you can leave us a voice. What?
Voicemails, Hudson.
251-281-8730.
Yes, 251-281-8730. And if the person who texted us yesterday could maybe text us back and let us know
who you are,
so you can get kudos for your comment. We have a suspicion as to who you are. We have a suspicion that it's @JDogC from Twitter, who was also in contact with us yesterday via Twitter. But, let
us know.
So let us know who you are.
And on that note, that's Paul. I'm Steve. This has been WinExtra's Daily Brief for March the 15th, 2011. See everyone tomorrow. Have a good day, folks.
Have a great one, folks.